Hello, good day. In this video, I'll be talking about how to convert Unix timestamp to date or date time number format. Now, the first thing I would like to tell you is that you should save or bookmark this video because right now you might not have any need for the video. You might not need it really. Maybe you've not actually come across a date that looks like, but I can assure you that later on you most likely need it. So now let's get into it. So what is this Unix timestamp? Unix timestamp refers to seconds since January 1, 1970. It's also called epoch time. It represents the number of seconds that have passed since January 1, 1970. And this is an example right here. So this particular unit time is 1.7 billion, and then it refers to November 13, 2023 at 11:33. You might have a data, maybe it is exported from a particular device, and then you will see that the date is in this long format. You just see all these long numbers. You don't actually, and you are wondering how those are actually dates. Yes, then that means the time might be in units timestamp. So all of these long numbers, they actually refers to this date. So how can we go from this to this? That is what I want to talk about in this video. So before we go into that, let's talk about Excel date system too. For Excel, actually dates are just numbers that are formatted to look like dates. I like to put it that way. For example, the value 1 in Excel, if you format it as dates, you see it is going to show as January 1, 1900. While if you have 44927 written in a cell and then you try to format that as a date, you are going to have December 1, 2023. So Excel's date is just the number of days since January 1, 1900. So sometimes when you are working with Excel and then you open your file and then you see a column that is labeled as date, but you in the column you actually see numbers like 444, like numbers like that. You don't need to actually panic. The only thing you need to do to actually make that look like date is just to convert it from the number format to a date format, and then you have something that looks like this. So now how can we convert Unix timestamp to Excel date format? This is the formula right here, which is equals to the Unix timestamp that you have divided by 86,400. Then you now add the Excel date value for January 1, 1970. So this 86,400 is actually the number of seconds in a day. So you are trying to convert the unit timestamp from seconds to days, and then you're adding value for the date value for 1970 in Excel also. But you really don't need to disturb your head about all of that so much. Just know that okay, this is the formula, and then if I even simplify it further, this date the date value for Excel for January 1, 1990 is actually 25,569. So let me just show you that. Now, this is a date function, but if you need to write date in Excel, you might want to type it out, but you might also use the date function. So to use the date function, it has the argument for year, for months, and then for day. So if I press enter now, this is telling me, oh, this is January 1, 1970. But if I convert this to number, then this is what I have. So that is how I simplify the formula for further. Then we have unit time over 86,400 plus 25,569. So this is our formula to convert unit timestamp to dates. So now let's do some examples. So I have this data that is in units timestamp, and then for me to actually work with it I need to convert it to date. So let's not forget our formula that is right here. So that means I will have something like equals to, then I open my bracket first, this guy divided by 86,400, then plus 25,569. If I press enter now, then I have this that is actually a number. Don't forget what I said. You need to just convert this to date format and then you can see your date. So if I come here and convert this to date, to short date, then I have this. So if I like, I can drag this down and then I have the dates for all of these. Now I've been able to convert this from the Unix timestamp to what, to the date. So this is date. What if I want to see the time? Then it's still the same formula, so I'm just going to go here to copy it and then come here and then paste it. So now I'm still seeing this number, but if I come here and say okay, this is time, then I'm going to see the time and I can drag it down. What if I want it to be in date time format, like I want to see the date and the time? Can still do the same thing, but this time around I'll come here and then here, then instead of choosing either short date or time, I'll choose more number format, which is, then I'm going to choose custom. Then I'll just look for a format that is going to show me date and time. So something like this will show me date and time, and I can even improve it further by adding the seconds and by making it show if it is AM or PM. And if I press enter now, then we can see both our date and time. So this is the date time number format, and if I drag this down, and then that is what we have. So we've been able to convert this Unix timestamp to date or time, or to date time number format. Now this all of these, I've been doing all of this in Excel. You can also convert Unix timestamp to whatever you want, to whatever date format you want in Google Sheets. So that's just the bonus part of this video, and I'm just going to show you now. So in Google Sheet, instead of you writing the formula yourself, there's actually a function that is built for that, and this is the epoch date formula. And then the arguments of the formula, we have the timestamp, which is the Unix timestamp itself, and then we have another argument which is actually optional, and then one is the default, and it is used if the Unix timestamp is in seconds, and then 2 3 if the Unix timestamp is in milliseconds and microseconds. Based on what I explained here, I only explained okay, that is the number of seconds from January 1. That means some Unix timestamp can refer to the number of milliseconds or microseconds from January 1. I hope you get that. So now let's use the function now. So this is the function. Select your Unix timestamp, and then if you press enter now, so we have what, we have our date, and this one is in date time. Can always come here and say okay, I want it as date, and then if we drag down, then we have our date. To get the time, still the same function, and then this time around go to format and then choose time as the format, then drag it down. So what if you want date time? That means you don't need to change the format, simply drag down and then you have it. So that's that for this video. I hope you've learned a lot. So I have a list of Unix timestamp here that you can practice with. Yes, so I'll drop a link to get this in the chat, and then you can practice with this data. Okay, thank you and see you in my next video. Bye.